What do most Fortune 500 executives have in common? They learned important lessons on the fields and courts of their high school and collegiate sports teams. This is true for both men and women. Ernst & Young found that a whopping 94% of women holding a C-suite position played sports. Their wins and losses shaped their habits and who they would become. Join me on my journey to sit with some of the brightest executives in the world as we discuss how sports shaped their professional trajectory. In partnership with Chief Executive Magazine, the voice of America's CEO community, I'm your host, Don Yeager, and this is Corporate Competitor Podcast. With me for today's episode is former NFL running back, Walter Payton Man of the Year recipient, and part owner of the Atlanta Falcons, Warrick Dunn. Near the end of his NFL career, Warrick took a handoff, dove into the line of scrimmage, and when he came out the other side, he became only the 22nd player in the history of the National Football League to have carried the football for 10,000 yards. Now, that's more than 5 miles of running, getting knocked to your knees every 9 feet. That fact is even more amazing if you know that Warrick is only 5'8", 178 pounds. By more than 20 pounds, he is the smallest player to have achieved the 10,000-yard mark. As awesome as that is, his life story is even better. Warrick was born to Betty Smothers, a Baton Rouge police officer. He was the oldest of her 6 children, and he was such a great football player that every major college coach in the South made their way to Betty Smothers' couch to ask Warrick to play at their university. Warrick and his mother decided together that he was going to play for Bobby Bowden at Florida State University. 2 weeks later, Warrick's cell phone rang. It was the Baton Rouge police. His mother had been shot and killed in a robbery at a bank. It was 2 days after his 18th birthday, and he became the man of the house. What he did next is what I'd argue makes him one of the greatest champions with whom I've ever had the chance to work. Warrick knows his true legacy is not measured in yards gained. Rather, it will be measured in yards that need to be mowed. Warrick founded Homes for the Holidays to honor his late mother's dream of home ownership. The program partners with local community organizations to reduce the burden on new single-parent homeowners by fully furnishing their new house, providing down payment assistance checks, and stocking the home with food. Today, more than 500 children woke up in a home they are able to call their own because of the work of Warrick Dunn. After joining the ownership group of the Falcons, Warrick went back to school to get an MBA because he wanted to make sure his credentials matched his business acumen. In this episode, I am excited to dive into Warrick's incredible stories from the football field and beyond, and learn how the lessons apply to his business life today. Warrick, thanks for joining us.
I appreciate you having me, of course. You know, you're my man, so I appreciate you.
Buddy, I'm grateful to have you here today. This means more than you might imagine. Telling people the story. You grew up in Baton Rouge, 5 younger brothers and sisters. Do you remember the first time you picked up a football?
Well, I was 7 years old when I picked up a football. Well, I was probably a little bit younger, but I didn't play organized or I didn't play outside until I was 7. That's when I really started falling in love with the game, once I ran around and made a few guys miss.
Is that what turned you on? Was that idea that given your size and your shiftiness that you had that ability to make people miss and that was awful fun?
Well, starting off, I mean, I was tiny at 7 years old and I was the last guy being picked. After a few games, I was the first guy being picked because they couldn't tackle me. After that success and as I got a little bit older, when I turned 9 years old, everyone knew that this is the little fast kid. You got to try to see if you can catch him. And I think that's where it all came together. My game just started to form because you start learning the fundamentals of it and not just running.
For the uninitiated, when you say you're learning the fundamentals and it's not just running, people are thinking it's a running back. They hand you the ball, you run. But the truth is, it's about setting up blockers. It's about doing all these other things that allow you to have a little bit more success. Can you share maybe a little of that when you start talking about those early lessons you were learning?
Yeah. So early on, I would get the ball. You just run. You just make people miss. And it was like, wow, he can make people miss. But when you're playing organized football, you have guys up front, you have receivers and those things. So you just can't grab the ball and just start running. So I started to really learn a little bit more distance and placement. We were calling audibles when I was 11 years old at the line of scrimmage, right? So really understanding the dive, the trap, understanding what the blockers are doing. For me, that was like, wow, now I can run downhill. And when I get to the open space, you make people miss. That's when the game was like really fun. And, I tell people all the time, I didn't lose a little league game. We used to average 59 points a game. It really just expanded my vision, my understanding of the game. It made me think about more than just myself. I had to learn patience, setting up my blocks. Let's make it easy. If these guys up here block, I should just run through this hole. If I have to make somebody miss that's down the field, I can do that. I just think I learned that patience and really trust the guys early on up front.
That's awesome. At Catholic High, you led that team to its first ever appearance in the state championship game as a sophomore. But in that game, you started as a fullback, right?
Yeah, I did.
How good must the running back have been if you were the fullback?
Well, he was a high school All-American as well, but it's crazy because I started in the state championship game at fullback, but I know in the semifinals, I moved to fullback because they felt like I was an added weapon for them offensively to really try to control the clock. We ran football efficiently. I was so small, I can go through the cracks. And listen, I was 130 some pounds sophomore year. Just imagine trying to squeeze through those little cracks and breaking tackles. I mean, they couldn't see me.
There's an advantage to not being able to be seen, right?
Yeah, sometimes you can hide behind people.
Yeah. So senior year, you have offers from all kinds of schools, but you choose Florida State.
Yeah.
Tell me why.
Well, my senior year, because I was an option quarterback, everyone wanted me to play defensive back.
Defense.
And I'm just like, I don't want to play defensive back. I want to score touchdowns. I don't want to hit people. When I went to Florida State, they recruited me as defensive back. Mickey Andrews wanted me to play defense. He's like, man, you could be the next Deion Sanders. And I was like, I don't want to be Deion. I want to be Warrick Dunn because I just believe in myself and my abilities that I can make people miss. I can play it. Just growing up, I had that chip on my shoulder. So I was confident. Then the incident with my mom happened, and that really changed a lot. I was just going through so much emotionally. I was going to stay home and go to LSU, but just talking with my family, it's like, no, you need to go where you want to go and live your dream. And the guy who recruited me from Florida State, Coach Higgins, we had a conversation like, hey, we need to know if you're going to come or not. And I said, okay, let me think about it. All right, I'll come to Florida State if I can play running back. One of the things I'm talking to Coach Bowden about is, Coach, listen, I really want to play running back. If you give me opportunity to play running back, and if it does not work out, I would move to defensive back. And he couldn't say my name. He said, okay, Warren. Okay, Warren.
Warren.
Yeah, Warren. And we made a deal. Boom, let's go. I went to Florida State that first week, and the rest is history.
That's awesome. Yeah, many of the defensive players on that team who I've had a chance to talk to over the years have said right from the very first time you carried the ball, they couldn't figure out how to hit you.
That's what I'm saying is my first time carried in that first week, I bust like 60, 70 yards on the first team defense.
And that was a national championship defense.
Yeah, that was a great defense. I was going against those guys at practice, and I wasn't going to let them hit me, period. I was running for my life a little bit.
Hey, that'd be a good name for a book. You should write that.
Yeah, well, let's think about that.
You mentioned it briefly earlier. Then you have a really tragic experience.
Yeah.
You're a senior in high school. You get a phone call.
Mm-hmm.
Your mother, Baton Rouge police officer, was tragically shot in a robbery sitting outside of a bank.
Yep.
How did you navigate the challenge of her passing with also becoming the man of the house and thinking about going off to college? How were you able to corral all that and keep things straight?
Well, I can't say that I did it alone. The night that it happened, I was in total shock. I didn't have time to sit and cry and mourn. I had to stand up and think about my family, my brothers and sisters, and what my mom wanted. And that's what really was my focus all about. I took the focus off myself and really put it on my brothers and sisters. And that was really like my driving force that just helped me get down the road, because I knew I had to be strong for them. And that's the one thing that I think was good in the beginning, but I think over the course of time, that was bad just because I wasn't able to really express myself and mourn in a way that was healthy. When that happened, you try to make the best of the situation and you're still looking for answers. You wonder what's next. But thank goodness we had a good, close knit group of family friends that were there to help support us in the city of Baton Rouge. So tough times, and we got through it all together.
And a lot of folks were supportive of you. And I never met your mom,
Right.
but I've heard you tell a lot of stories about her. And she taught you an amazing lesson about how to handle these kinds of moments, tough moments, even from a younger age. Would you share with us a little bit about that lesson?
Well, it's like so many lessons. It's hard to just pick out one.
Right.
One thing, she was always about challenging yourself to be better. Do you want to waddle and stay down in the cracks, or do you want to rise to the occasion and show people what you can do and where you belong? My freshman year of high school, I was just going to school, just wanted to eat fried chicken, and I wasn't studying, doing anything, and I didn't have the grades to continue to play. So I couldn't play any more football. I was a prop 48 at that time. That's what they called it. And, a lot of other guys were leaving school because I went to a predominantly white all boys school, and we had like 9 African Americans on a freshman football team. And majority of those guys left who didn't make the grades. And my mom asked me, "What you going to do? I can't beat you. I can't do anything." It's like, what are you going to do? Are you going to prove that you belong, that you can show them that this is where you belong? Or I can take you out and we can go to Estruma High School, which was down the street from me. I thought about it. I was just like, "No, Mom, I'll stay. I'll show them that I can make the grades and that I could handle this." And that was it. After that, I started studying, because I can tell you that first 9 weeks, I was not bringing books home. I was just enjoying life, just enjoying school, because public school was easy for me. Early on, I didn't take school seriously. So after that, I had to start studying. I started just doing those things, and my grades actually came up. I ended up having to go to summer school for the first time in my life, get some credits back. And then after that, started my sophomore year, I had almost a 3.0.
Wow. You just needed a framework. And by the way, I love the challenge that she offered you.
Yeah.
The exit is easy.
Yeah.
The challenge is where greatness happens.
My mom always challenged me to be different and to be better. And that has transpired in other areas in my life. But that particular moment, I have no idea what she's trying to prove. She wasn't trying to take the easy route. She put it right back on me because I had to grow up really fast. And I was like her little man. So we had adult conversations when I was 14 years old. I mean, I was driving across the country. So she really relied on me and trusted me and my judgment on different issues. So to me, we just had a conversation and she challenged me.
I love it.
The rest is
history.
Yeah.
No, the blessing, though, of having someone who believed enough in you to challenge you as opposed to make it easy for you. At FSU, you mentioned that Coach Bowden wasn't just influential as a coach. He also played a role as a father figure to you.
Yeah.
Tell me about that freshman year when he made sure you were surrounded by the right people.
Well, when I first went to Florida State, Coach Bowden had an idea, hey, we know you're dealing with a lot, so how can we help position you so that you're coming in with the right support? So he roomed me with Charlie Ward, Heisman Trophy candidate, 5th year senior. I'm a true freshman. Doug Williams played a role in that. He reached out to Charlie on my behalf. And it was like we were in sync from the beginning. He's laid back, I was laid back, and I had so much built up inside. I didn't talk, I didn't do a lot. So he was like the perfect roommate at that time. And Coach Bowden told me, if you ever need anything, you can always come to me. I'm here to help you throughout your journey. So I would have personal, private conversations with Charlie in the dorm. I would get emotional. I would cry in front of him. But I would always go to Coach Bowden because he was more of a father figure, that I would go and actually talk to him about issues that I had going on with my brothers and sisters. And this is what I'm dealing with at home. And he would use examples to educate me on, this is what I did with my kids. And I wouldn't exactly do what he did, but I took the concept and I tried to apply it.
You were essentially parenting your own brothers and sisters.
Yeah, I was. I was their guardian. Thank God. I just turned 18 years old 2 days before my mom passing. So they were my responsibility. So I was going to do everything I could to make sure that they were okay. And Coach Bowden really helped with that foundation. But having an open door policy that I can just come and talk to him anytime, I mean, for me, that was just like he was godsend.
And again, how great a business lesson is that. A lot of business leaders say open door policy, come talk to me anytime. And the second you get there, they're like, man, I don't have time for that. You're a freshman. What are the odds you're even going to play for us? We're a national championship caliber team.
Yeah.
Instead, he delivered on his commitment to you.
Yeah, well, he was a man of his word. He started every Friday night with a Bible verse that really led into football, and it all connected together. He was just a man of his word, a godly man. And at that time, I was able to surround myself with two godly men that I think God put them in my life to protect me and to guide me until I can actually do some things on my own and guide myself.
Now, the joke has been always very funny that by putting you with Charlie Ward, that they could have put a library sign outside of your door because the two of you didn't talk. So it could be silence at all times.
Well, I can tell you, we talked a lot. We talked to each other. We had great conversations. And like I said, I used to get emotional because I was able to express myself and just think, I'm in college. It's Parents Weekend my freshman year. Charlie was someone that I can talk to about because it's his senior year. So his parents are going to be there. So he understood what I was missing and what the journey was going to be for me just moving forward. So that was always a tough time, Parents Weekend, but just knowing that my mom would never see me physically play, those things that, it was challenging. So I just tried always to represent my family and my mom's name in a positive way.
I don't think there's anybody who would argue you haven't done that. At FSU, that freshman year, we mentioned it earlier, national championship.
Yeah.
You get a chance to have some amazing opportunities during that season, even though, as you said, they didn't recruit you as a running back, but you sure showed people you belonged. What's your best memory?
I remember my first game, and I think my first carry against Kansas. I was supposed to run right, and I spun and went left, and I tripped. I almost had a long touchdown run. So it's just like I was close on my first carry to have a big, long run against the Kansas Jayhawks. I remember that. I remember my first touchdown against North Carolina when I went in after Sean Jackson, caught a swing route, and it's just, I should make a guy miss and went up the sideline. And I was like, oh my God, first touchdown. I was just in shock. So those things I remember. People talk a lot about, the big run at Florida and all those things.
There isn't a Seminole out there that doesn't remember the 73-yard pass reception from Charlie against Florida and Steve Spurrier running down the sideline. There's nothing better.
Oh, yeah. People love that. But I talk about those other plays that people don't take notice of a lot of times. And I remember playing against Miami my freshman year, and I got a hit in the ribs. Guy hit me, I bounced off, and I kept running, and I picked up a key first down that helped us win the game. I mean, I was in so much pain afterwards, but still the game. It's those little things right there that I actually remember and I cherish because I did play a part, not in just a big game, but it's those little games, those big moments against a Miami or Florida. Those were the difference makers. The funniest one, I think, that I remember is really when we played Notre Dame in South Bend.
Oh, yeah.
Coach Bowden called me out at halftime, Warren, you're not in high school anymore. You can't be slipping out there. And, everybody was slipping. Charlie Warrick was slipping. Derek Brooks was slipping. He calling me out. I can't believe this. I went out in the second half and I wanted to prove to Coach Bowden that I'm not going to fall down. And I went out and I had a really good second half. We ended up losing the game, but he challenged me. And I was just like, oh, I'm going to prove to him. This is not going to happen. He's not going to call me out again. And he never called me out again, but I guess he was looking for a spark in the team or something, but he called me out. Warren, you can't be slipping on a kick. I was like, what?
My favorite part is you have maybe one of the better Bobby Bowden stories I've heard. And the idea that you keep calling yourself Warren is even better.
Oh, yeah. No, that's what he called me. Warren or 28.
28.
At 2'8"? He would say 2'8". He didn't say 20. He said at 2'8", Warren, get that 2'8" that ball. Yeah.
I love it. So you have a great freshman year. We talked about it, national championship.
Yep.
But then you go on and you become the first running back in the history at FSU, a really storied program, to have 3 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. And you become the 12th pick of the NFL draft.
Right.
12th pick of the entire draft. Tony Dungy becomes your coach.
Yeah.
Take me back to discovering that you're going to play for Tony Dungy.
Well, the Bucks at that time, they were new head coach the year before. Now they're starting to turn the corner a little bit. Doing a recruiting process, Coach Dungy was like, would you want to come play in Tampa? I was like, sure, yeah, I'll come play in Tampa. What are you talking about? Yeah. When they interviewed me, it's like, what do you do best? I said, I score touchdowns.
That was your answer to him?
Yeah, that was my answer.
I score touchdowns?
I score touchdowns. I was confident. I just needed an opportunity.
Yeah.
I remember on draft day getting a phone call. I was in Baton Rouge with my brothers and sisters, and I wanted to share this moment with them. And I had to wait a few hours. I got the phone call, and when I hung it up, I was like, man, it's finally over. And I just took off from the front room, went into the back bedroom, into the room I was supposed to be staying in, and I dove on the bed. I was like, oh my God, it's over. Thank God. But most importantly, I was with my brothers and sisters. I was with my family because we were on a journey together. Coach Dungy, the way he was as a man and what he taught me and the relationship that I built with him, that trust, he helped me a lot, him and his family. So I'm thankful.
And his wife, Lauren, was just such a great partner to you as well, with your brothers and sisters and offering advice as a parent.
Yeah.
I love it. So you had such a great college experience, amazing coach, Bowden. Mm-hmm. Now you get an amazing NFL coach, Dungy, who just sets so many bars for those who play for him that you can't wait to try to please him.
Right.
Tell me, what was that like? Give me a Tony Dungy story about trying to make sure that you didn't let him down.
Well, Coach Dungy, he was a guy, he didn't yell, didn't curse. I mean, when he got upset, you knew that it was real. And he didn't treat us like little boys. I mean, he treated us like men. The expectation he set for all of us as individuals is, it's not about the game of football. It's about life. What type of life do you want to live? What type of impact that you want to have off the football field? Because it just can't be about football. It has to be more than that. Having that opportunity to listen to him as a rookie, to challenge you to be more than just an athlete and have an impact in the community, make a difference. If it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be doing what I've done over the years, but I mean, he's heaven sent, seriously.
He is definitely that, because he does. He says, go do something good. And you didn't just think, oh, I'll go bag groceries or give away turkeys.
Yeah.
You said, I'm going to go find people like my mom and I'm going to help them get a home.
Yeah.
Your mother had never owned a home. Here's this opportunity for you in your rookie year to begin a charity called Homes for the Holidays.
Yeah.
Tell me about the beginning days, that first time you got to dangle keys and say, today you live my mother's dream.
Well, honestly, when I started that, I went back and forth about what I really wanted to do and what type of impact that I wanted to make. But I wanted something that I could be passionate about, something that I can really get behind. So I thought about my mom and her journey. And I know there's a lot of other women that are going through something similar. Stephanie Wilder, who was community relations at the time with the Buccaneers, I told her about the idea and we worked it out. And that Thanksgiving, we did 3 homes in that one day.
Wow.
Yeah. Honestly, I had no idea what I was doing. I just wrote the check myself. I paid for all this stuff myself. We didn't have an errands or those things. We had a small family-owned furniture partner that helped us with the furniture. And I just took it for granted. I handed the keys over. I was like, okay, you're emotional. I mean, I'm just happy to help you. It's great. Boom. But it really hit home when I watched the news later that night. I was like, wow, man, that is life changing. I want to do that again. But I got to go home because that's where it all started. The next year I was like, we got to do this again, but we can do it in Tampa, but I got to go home to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And, you know, the rest is history.
So watching the news was when you first really fully appreciated, even in the experience of those three mothers and handing the keys,
yeah.
you didn't fully appreciate it until you saw it that night.
Yeah, I think it's just the way the story was told and you saw the reaction because when you're there, you can see the reaction. But again, I was still so emotionally detached because I was a guy, I went out in Tampa, I could go hang out and party or whatever, but I never smiled. I didn't drink. I didn't really enjoy myself. You just going along the motions, right? Just moving, not necessarily living.
Mhm.
Even though this is something I wanted to do for my mom, I wasn't like really enjoying the experience. And it took years before I would really understand that I was using this program as therapy.
Mm.
This was therapy for me. So when I can actually see how a story is produced and you see it on the news later, it's like, okay, man, they pulled at the strings. They pulled it out. And it's like, wow, I got to do this again.
And here we are. At the time of this recording, you have now done 188 homes. 502 children have woken up in houses that you, through your charity, have been able to help them.
Yeah.
I had the chance to be at a number of them, including an amazing one in Topeka, Kansas, with our good friends at Advisors Excel and Cody Foster. And every one of them that I've been to makes me cry. Is there one, and I know it's an unfair question, but is there a moment in one of those house stories that still sticks and you're going, man, that's a mind blow?
Honestly, I can tell you all of them, are special.
Mhm.
I remember the second one, the lady, she squeezed me, picked me up and squeezed me. Now, just know I'm a rookie. I'm frail. I was probably like, 170 just coming out of college. And, she squeezed me out of joy. And plus, she had a son at that time. So she was trying to provide an environment for him. I remember those moments. I've been able to look back on it and really be thankful for those experiences because those are the things that I actually, when I'm having tough days, emotional moments, I can reflect back on those experiences and those smiles. And you can see, like, wow, I don't have my mom, but other individuals are living her dream. And when you see someone and you hear about their journey, knowing how hard they worked for it, that speaks volumes. And to help them move along in their lives and progress, I mean, that says a lot.
Yeah. Amazing journey in the NFL, 12 years, unbelievable.
Yeah.
But then you get the opportunity to purchase a minority stake in the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
Tell me about Arthur Blank and about that experience with him and getting the chance to become partners in that kind of environment.
When I first met Mr. Blank, obviously when I was a free agent coming to Atlanta, and we talked about things off the field. We didn't talk about football. We were more passionate about how can we make Atlanta better? How can we support people and families in Atlanta? And he knew about the work that I was doing. So, I mean, that was our conversations. It wasn't about football. Can you do this or that? And so over the years, we developed a relationship. I used to call him at home, go to his house. I mean, it was just a different dynamic of a relationship. And as I got older, he was like, hey, so Warrick, what are you going to do after you retire? I have no idea. You want to coach this or that? I was like, no, I'd rather be up there with you, So just having conversations like that, I was always honest and very candid about things I wanted. I just said what was on my mind. So I was always very vocal with him about different issues and things that we can do as a team. After I left Atlanta, went to Tampa, then Tampa released me. And he's like, so what are you going to do? I don't know. He said, you should buy into the team.
He just throws it out of the blue.
Well, when the Falcons released me, he called me too. Warrick, this is a tough part of the business. I'm sorry. I know you still got a lot of football left, but when you finish playing a game, I would love to call you a partner. I was like, yes, sir.
Wow.
And at that time, I'm being released. So you take it for granted, this or that.
Right.
And I felt like I could play more, I had a year or two left in me to play. I was just like, okay, what do I want to do? And we started having meetings and conversations. He cooked me dinner and he was really trying to encourage me, Warrick, this is something you need to do. And I said, okay, fine. I'll call my financial advisor. Let's see if we can work it out. And, the rest is history. So
there's a lot of history in you. By the way, I don't know if you know it, but he's also a corporate competitor, pretty good football player at Stuyvesant High School. So
I didn't know.
Yeah. And he was pretty good at one stage.
Yeah, no doubt.
So what kind of lessons have you learned in that transition from being a football player into this role of understanding and thinking about business and numbers and creating successful organizations?
Well, I can tell you numbers was always one of the things for me. I was more of a science and math guy, just understanding numbers came easy for me, but trying to understand concepts of business and those things, that was something I had no idea about. I just knew family and, I was very observant. I was always willing to learn. And when I became a partner, I decided that I wanted to earn my other partners' respect because they were businessmen, worked their entire lives. And I'm a lot younger, they're a lot older. So they're retired. Most of them retired, made all their money. And I wanted to earn their respect. So I ended up going to Emory University and Grazetta School of Business to get my MBA and didn't tell anybody.
I love that story, by the way. I love the idea that just to make sure that they could look at you differently, right?
Yeah.
Not just a player, you're someone that's working to create equal footing. Mm-hmm. Love that.
Yeah, well, that was my goal because I wanted to prove to them that I can go and learn a little bit of their craft. Because when I became a partner, I was in these meetings and information just flying over my head. Like, what are they talking about? What's going on? Different verbiage. So I was just like, I need to go and at least start learning the verbiage. And once I went to business school, the lingo was a lot different. I did learn a lot, and I didn't tell them that I was doing it. No one found out until I actually started school. And one of my partners was like, why you didn't tell me? I could have helped get you into school. So I wanted to do it myself. For me, I always wanted to prove that I can do things on my own. And I didn't realize the correlation that sports have with business and how you function, starting from the leadership, but also teamwork, commitment, the sacrifice. We're in this together. It's not on one person. Mm-hmm. A lot of things I learned in football. And I relied on that information, and it helped me be a better founder at the charity because now I run it more like a business instead of a nonprofit. We have to make money to support, and making that money is donations. It's not going in my pocket.
Right.
But we try to be fiduciarily responsible for individuals' dollars. So we want to make sure we maximize them. So you try to run it efficiently. And, I just learned a lot over the years, and I have a lot of conversations with my financial advisors. So just the brain keeps going, and I'm always opening. The most important thing is probably I am always open to learning something new, learning something different. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Continuous learning. I mean, what a gift. And again, you didn't have to go get an MBA, but you did.
Well, no, I did. I had to go. I had to.
Well, but you didn't have to. You could have just taken your position on the, around the table. You could have done what you wanted to do. But the idea that you said, no, I'm not going to let this just be a show. You're going to make sure that that I care enough about this to do the right thing.
Yeah.
What strikes me, Warrick, is that in every place that you felt challenged, your mom, freshman year in high school, Tony Dunn and your charity, Bobby Bowden saying you're probably not going to be able to play freshman. And all of these places, you found an opportunity to step up and step in. Right. What a great lesson that is for young people and business people. Take the challenge, don't take the exit.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I would never, ever fold. This saying is in a song that I like. It's a hip hop song. I would never, ever fold. No one will ever see me fold. I would never quit. I would never give up. Mm. You may not get there on the first try. Keep trying. You got to fall a few times, just like you teach kids. Say when you're riding a bicycle and you're starting to walk it, you got to get back up. You're actually going to be okay. It's not going to end. Just get up. Let's try again, and try again. And I'm just always looking for an opportunity. If I don't know, I got to learn it a different way. You know, can you put it in football terms? Because I had to do that in business school. What do you mean by this? Can you explain it to me? Then they broke it down. Well, we're going to use the football. Just imagine if you're the this and that, and they broke it down. It's like, oh, okay, I get it now. And it all starts to come together. And sometimes it just takes time. And sometimes we don't have patience to actually do the hard work to get to the other side. Then you look back and it's like, man, I understand that.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people, a lot of athletes, a lot of celebrities, they have a charity, they establish something, but then they stop playing or whatever, and the charity kind of goes away.
Yeah.
Yours has continued to blossom. Why? Why do you think that is?
I enjoy what I do. It's not a job. I don't do it for money. I don't make any money. I mean, I've probably given way more money than my financial advisor has wanted me to give to the charity, because it's just giving money away to nonprofits. I don't feel like it's a job. I'm passionate about it. I love helping people. And I think now that's what people see me as, oh, this is the guy who helps. They think I give away homes. I don't give anyone anything. No one gave me anything. I had to work for it. And that's what I expect from families that we work with, individuals. I can't give you anything. If you work for it, I'm here to help you. I'm going to push you down the road. Maybe I need to walk through it with you so that you understand. But I like the fact that I could see life-changing moments, that you can actually impact a family in a way that is life-changing forever, creating stability, home ownership, breaking generational poverty. I mean, that's what it's all about. Remembering where I came from and what I didn't have and the struggles that we had growing up. You know, when you moving forward, I just think that says a lot, that we can grow.
Warrick Dunn, thank you for being Warren Dunn.
Warren
Dunn, thank you for being a corporate competitor. Thank you for being extraordinary as a human and a role model for so many of us, myself included, and for all of us to learn how to choose better over bitter. God bless you, buddy.
I appreciate it. I mean, bitter is not going to get you anywhere, but if you can look on the bright side and knowing that you have opportunity to be better, go that route, you know, and the rest is history.
If you want to read more about Warrick's journey, check out the book we wrote together titled Running for My Life. In that book, you will read the story of what I think is the most incredible thing anyone has ever done. Warrick went back to the prison where the man that killed his mother sat on death row to forgive him. I get chills even saying those words. The link to the book is in the show notes on corporatecompetitorpodcast.com. If you could share one habit, one thing you've done consistently that allowed you to separate yourself from your competitors, what would it be? In my 30-year career, 2,500 of the greatest athletes, coaches, and leaders answered that question for me.
This is Don Yeager, who did that article I was telling you about.
Don, Dave Sims with Coach K. How you doing?
Hey, Don. How you doing, my man?
Great, sir. What they gave to me is what I'm giving to you in my online course, Journey to Greatness. Through engaging storytelling and on-demand videos, you will learn the 16 habits that will jumpstart your personal growth. I will instruct you on how to apply these winning characteristics to your life through custom workbook exercises. We are slashing the price for our podcast listeners. Lifetime access to Journey to Greatness is normally $399, but for our podcast listeners, it will be $49 with the code podcast at checkout. Click the banner on corporatecompetitorpodcast.com to enroll. Thanks for listening to the show. I would be so grateful if you left us a rating and a review. We will be rolling out a new episode every Wednesday. To be the first to listen, subscribe to the podcast on our website, corporatecompetitorpodcast.com. Plus, as a thank you gift, you will receive a free chapter from one of my best-selling books on the habits of high-performing teams. Stay in touch by connecting with me on social media at Don Yeager, Yaeger, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Until next week, I appreciate you.